Oh, but when I and all he's done for me,
I never can forget. Yes, sir.
shouts hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Look back at what all the Lord has done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Joy can't help but come over your heart.
That's all right.
Thank the Lord for what great things
Yes, sir.
he has done.
Thank you, God.
Praise God today. Thank him for yet another day's journey. Thank him for keeping you all week long. Thank him for not allowing you to go off on your co-worker.
That's all right.
That he kept your mind.
Yes, sir.
Held your tongue.
In Jesus' name. I told him I'd slap him in Jesus' name. Jesus' name.
You wasn't just that strong that day. But the Lord kept you. You better learn to give God thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For everything. Don't even take for granted putting one foot in front of the other.
Yes, sir.
Life can turn on a dime.
Preach, Pastor.
It can turn on a dime. And the whole world will be flipped upside down. Thank God for his tender mercies. Thank him for his everlasting grace. Mr. Hart, it's good to see you today, darling. You know that we're praying with you.
Thank you, God.
Passing of your sister. God be with you all in this season of bereavement. I had a pretty good week. Started off kind of rough because I wasn't feeling too good.
But God.
I came to church on Wednesday morning. I got here at about 9 a.m. I had my little prayer time and coffee. And I came with the intentions on having Bible study.
What you say?
But the truth was my mind just wasn't where it needed to be. The Lord told me it's okay, son.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Go ahead and cancel. And keep reading what I had you reading since Monday morning. The rest of my week went just fine.
Amen.
I got to apologize.
And I just kept reading what he gave me to read. And now today I'm going to celebrate a little bit.
Amen. Amen.
For what God is His word today.
Amen.
Turn with me to the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 31. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 31. I'm going to get out your way. You know, sometimes I'm so glad to be a child of God, I just don't even know what to do with myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm serious. Maybe you ain't never been there before. Huh? You don't know what I'm talking about. But
They don't feel you, Pastor. They don't feel you.
sometimes I just don't know what to do with myself. I remember telling my son I was in the gym and I was working out and you know, I was listening to my headphones and everything. And then all of a sudden, folks just was looking at me crazy. I was going there shouting in the gym.
That's all right.
I told Mark, I said, I got happy. In the gym.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll turn it up for Jesus. I keep trying to tell y'all.
But when you know who you are,
Yes, sir.
you know who you belong to, and what he has done.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
When you think about those things,
Yes, sir.
you just can't help yourself.
Yes, sir.
You just can't help yourself. Jeremiah 31, beginning at verse 31. Jeremiah 31, beginning at verse 31. Are we there? Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke. Although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their heart. Their God, and they shall be my people. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Beloved, today we stand under a new covenant.
Thank you, God.
Preach, Pastor.
Thank you, God.
We're standing on a new thing.
Thank you.
And praise God for that.
Thank you, God. Thank you.
Praise God for that, because
Thank you, God.
the old covenant was
Yes.
shaky ground.
Yeah, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, God.
It wasn't too stable. It wasn't too solid and too sound for us. But I thank God for a new day.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord.
I thank God for doing something new in the life of his people.
Oh, glory.
The thing is this, if
Thank you.
you know, it's interesting to me that
Thank you, Lord.
in order for something to be made new, the old got to be destroyed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You ever thought about that? I mean, I had to think about that for just a little while. I got stuck there for just a little while in my. Is that in order for something to be made new, the old
All
must
right.
be destroyed.
Yes, Lord. Tear it down, God. Yes, sir.
Even if I'm just going to build a new house on the same plot of land where I have my current house. I got a lot of old memories in that house. Had a lot of fun in that old house.
Come on, Pastor.
But I look forward
To the new one.
to some new experiences
He told y'all about it, Matt, last couple weeks.
in my new house.
Yes, sir.
But in order for me to get the new house, I got to let the old one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all right.
I got to let the old one go. The old one must die. The old one must be destroyed. Old things must pass away and all things become new. The problem with many of us as believers is we try to do new things. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that.
Thank you, Lord.
We try to do the same old things in new bodies.
Yes,
We try to do the same old things under new management, under new leadership.
Yes, sir.
You all have been in some places and they done changed bosses on you. For the most part, your job duty is pretty much the same.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
But how you handle that boss
Thank you, Lord.
ain't going to be the same
Thank you, Lord.
as the one before. You can't be trying to do the same old things under new leadership.
That's right.
Something new has been given to you. Something new has been deposited in you. The mysteries of the truths of who God is, of the gospel, has been granted to you. Not because of anything you did, but simply because God was pleased to do it. And you've been given all this good stuff, all this new stuff. You have a new mind and a new heart and a new spirit, but you still want to hang out in old places and do old things. But you want God to do something new in your life. You get confused by some of these things. The old house must be torn down. And the thing is, you know, no matter how much we love that old house, the expectation is the new house will be better than the old. Anytime you get something new, you expect it to be better than the last one. I know some of y'all got an old pair of shoes, you just keep getting them resold.
I just keep cleaning them off.
You just won't let them go. I promise you they got some new ones. But the expectation is that the new house will be better than the old one. Looking forward to the new house. Praise God this morning. Give him glory. A new glorious covenant. One that is built upon covenant. For the thing is that first covenant is if the first covenant was so good and without fault, then why would there even be a need for a new covenant?
Thank you.
If the old one was so great,
Yes. Come on now.
there wouldn't be a need for a second one.
Come on.
My soul this morning stands overjoyed
Yes, Lord.
because long time ago, there was an act that was made in love that put together a framework in this covenant for not only one who is unworthy, but for one who does not even hold a desire to try to please him. What I mean by that is, God has framed this covenant for you and for I. Not only are we not deserving of the covenant, I'm talking about the new one. Because we already broke the first one. Not only am I not deserving of the new covenant, but he's going to give it to me when I have no motive within me to try to even uphold the old one. In other words, I'm living my life to please Marcus. I'm living my life to fulfill Marcus's desires, to do what Marcus wants to do. to live how I want to live, to choose the things I want to choose, go to places I want to go. Everything I do, my education, where I get up and go every morning, is for what Marcus wants to do.
Come on, help him, God, help him. Oh, God.
And in spite of that,
Yes.
when nothing I do is to please God in my life,
That's right. Help him, God, help him. Thank you, Lord. Help
nothing
him.
I do is to please God in my life. God says this covenant is for you.
Yes. Yes.
See, the thing is,
Glory. Oh.
we struggle so much in relationships
Oh, yeah.
and families,
Thank you.
households,
Yes, sir.
how children treat parents, how parents treat
Yeah.
children, how husbands treat wives and wives treat husbands, friends treating friends, how we act with our bosses and co-workers. Things might be a little bit better if I treated you the way I treat you because I'm trying to please God instead of you.
Hallelujah.
If I treat you as my friend in a way that is pleasing to God instead of in a way that's pleasing to me or in a way that's going to make you be indebted to me or owe me something, tit for tat, whatever it may be. But if I just love you because I love God.
Yes, sir.
Relationships will be a little different.
Yes, sir.
Y'all heard me say, I love my wife, but I love her the way I love her because I love God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a good Lord.
It'll be different. My boss, my co-worker, how I act among them, how I treat them, how I respond when I feel like someone has wronged me.
Thank you, Lord.
If my response is based on me trying to please God and not worry about my pride,
Watch out, Pastor.
relationships will be a little bit better.
Holy Ghost. Oh, yeah.
But I'm caught up in my pride. I'm caught up in what you think about me.
Holy Ghost.
I'm caught up in, can't nobody just do me any kind of old way.
Speak, Lord.
So instead of responding in a way that's pleasing to God, I've got to respond in a way that I can sleep with. That I can be comfortable with in and of myself. And God says, you, worm, maggot, this covenant is for you. See, I hope y'all been paying attention the last couple of weeks because it's been leading up to this.
Come on, God. Hey, come on.
The first covenant established with Adam, our federal head, was a covenant of works. It was a covenant based on merit because the security of the blessing in that first covenant was based on Adam fulfilling his part. In the first covenant, it was a covenant of works. It was a covenant of merit. The security of God's blessing was based on the obedience
Yes, sir.
to
Yes,
God's
sir.
command.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all with me? See, the problem is many of y'all still got an old covenant mentality.
That's right.
That's how you get, these pseudo-Christians, these Pharisees.
All right, Bishop.
Get on my nerves. Church people get on my nerves.
Sunday school was all right today. Yes, it was.
I love the people of God, but church folk get on my nerves. They just
Amen.
give my God a bad name. They just, oh, that.
Not that he lost his place.
It's a covenant of merit. It's a covenant of works.
Yes, Lord.
Was this first covenant. And the thing is when Adam failed, the result was sin and the curse of sin. The curse of sin unto the entire world and all humankind. Therefore, we carry not only the responsibility of our own sins, but we also carry the responsibility of Adam's sin. We we also carry the responsibility of his sin. Paul tells us in Romans 5 that by one man sin entered into the world, and death also by sin. So death passed upon all men. And for that, all have sinned. Yeah. So the first covenant, like I stated, was upon the principle of marriage. Serve God is what it was teaching. Serve God, and you will be rewarded. Be obedient to God, and God will grant you this. Walk perfectly in the fear of the Lord, and God will walk well towards you. This was the first covenant. And even though it's reasonable, okay, it's reasonable, it makes logical sense for someone to be rewarded for his good works or punished for their evil ones. That makes logical sense for you and I, don't it? Sure it does. But the first covenant fell to the ground. It was no good for us because man was fighting a losing battle. The first covenant was given, but man had no chance to uphold his end of the bargain. A covenant agreement is an agreement between two parties that one would fulfill their end and it would benefit or serve the other. Man had no chance to fulfill his part of the bargain. But this new covenant, this covenant is not found on merit. It's not found on merit or works at all, for it stands on the principle of grace. It stands on the principle of grace. From the first word to the last word in the covenant, I failed to find one thing that man has to do in the covenant. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He tells us, he says, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I'll be their God, and they will be my people. He didn't say I need them to do this.
That's right. That's right.
He didn't say I need them to do that. He didn't say I need them to go over here. I need them to go plant over here. He just said I will. Nowhere do I find anything that he has commanded man to do in order for him to uphold his end of the covenant. Hallelujah. The whole covenant is not so much a covenant between God and man. See, this new covenant, like the first one was between God and Adam, between God and man. But in this new covenant, it's not necessarily between God and mankind. It's more so between Jehovah and man's representative. We just benefit. But it's between God and himself. What you got to understand is that the human requirement of this covenant, it says man must do. You ought to shout joy this morning because Christ already performed. Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
Christ already performed what was necessary on the part of humankind in order for this covenant to be fulfilled. In other words, there remains nothing left for you and I to do. There's nothing left for you and I to do to uphold the covenant. There's nothing left in it but the giving portion. Thank the Lord. There's nothing left for me to do on my part. All that's left in the covenant is the giving part. Because our part in the covenant just stands in this, where the Lord just simply tells us, because of what was fulfilled by his son, he simply says, I will. He simply says, I will give you this. And I'm going to give you that. And I'm going to bestow unto you this. And I'm going to render unto you that. And I'm going to shower you with this blessing. And I'm going to fulfill this promise. And I'm going to fulfill that promise. And what I said I was going to do over there, it's already done over here. And this is where we need to know, my sister, is that there are some things that God has promised you based on the covenant that he has made with you in the bosom of himself. And there's nothing you can do to keep God from giving it to you. You better be glad this morning. You better be happy this morning that there's some stuff that God has said is for you. And your sins from yesterday didn't come. You better be glad that your salvation isn't contingent upon you fulfilling something. See, under the old covenant, those blessings only had security in you doing what you were supposed to do. God said, if you do, then I will. But now we stand in a new day. He says, I will because I've already done it. Hallelujah. I will because I've already done it. Somebody said, well, what about the works that I perform? What you don't know is that even the works that you do, it is him that worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. That you should walk in his good works that he has before prepared, that you should walk in them before the foundation of the world. Anything you do that pleases the Lord God Almighty comes from him himself. Don't be so arrogant to think that you can do anything that is of God to please God, that is in and of yourself. But it is the Spirit of God that he has deposited in you. That's the reason you even got a desire to come into the house of the Lord. That's the reason you even got a desire to time. The reason you even got a desire to work in ministry, to be a part of prayer ministry, usher ministry. People looking at you crazy, and you serve in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That doesn't come from a natural motive.
It comes from the Lord.
To work for God, I got to deal with people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To run for Jesus, I got to deal with people. People crazy.
Yeah. They ain't got no sense.
People are unpredictable. People are fickle. They change their mind as the wind. It's hard for you to deal with people. Then I can look past you. I can look right over you. You looking at me crazy, I'm looking right over your head.
That's all right.
You put something in front of me to stumble over and I didn't even know it. I just walked right over.
Yeah, right on past it. Hey now. Turn up, Pastor. Turn up time. Y'all ain't ready for it.
I'm in a new thing. I'm in a new thing. Every work I do is because God has given it to me.
That's right.
This covenant. I'm almost home. But this covenant is a more stable covenant. It's a more stable covenant than the first covenant. Because see, the thing is, anytime man is required to perform something, you don't shake your ground. Amen, somebody.
Yes, sir.
Man will let you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They will do it. They will do it. If you put too high expectations on man, the odds are that you're going to be disappointed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anytime man is required to perform something, there's always a degree of change that you must factor in. You're going to have to put in a buffer or some wiggle room. Because you got to anticipate. When you're dealing with man, there's going to be a mistake made. somewhere.
Yes, sir.
They're going to drop the ball somewhere. They're not going to respond the way they're supposed to respond 10 out of 10 times. They're not going to behave the way they're supposed to behave 100 out of 100 times. You better put in a buffer somewhere. But this covenant is more stable. This covenant has nothing to do with the creature doing anything. It is God's covenant. And it's God's covenant with himself. And if it's God's covenant, he is immutable. And if he's immutable, that means anything he does is immutable. In other words, it's unchangeable. It's unchangeable. If it's God's covenant, it doesn't matter what we do. Paul said that neither death nor life, powers and principalities, height nor depth can separate us from the love of God. And guess what that is? That includes your lying, your cheating, your stealing, your backbiting. That includes your whore's way. That includes your lying way. That includes your envious tongue, your covetous nature. That includes you being disobedient. That includes nothing can separate from the love of God.
Yes, sir.
Nothing can separate you from the love of Jesus the Christ. Thank God. That there's nothing I can do that causes him to run away from me. And the thing is, see, if I stand in a covenant that's so secure, if I stand in this covenant, and Pastor, you telling me is that secure? If that's the case, then why should I not be able to walk as if I'm already walking the streets of gold right now? If the covenant is that secure, if the covenant is that sure, if it can't be broken, the covenant can't be changed, then why can I not walk around earth like I'm already over in glory? Why do I gotta wake up sad, heart down in the dumps, if I already have what God has promised me?
Yes, sir.
Then I ought to be able to wake up morning by morning with joy in my heart, looking forward to what God is going to let me enjoy today. See, the thing is, you need to learn to be more kingdom-minded. You need to learn to be more kingdom-minded. If you're in this covenant with the King, you're in this covenant with God himself, and it's not anything contingent on your part. You need to begin to hold on to the blessing as if you already got it. You need to be able to reach up and know it and grab it because you know that the promises of God will be fulfilled. Anything God has promised you from his covenant, it's yours. It's yours. And if you're confused about what he has promised you within his covenant, one thing that you should not be confused about is that he has promised you that one day you will be with him in paradise. And that right there is enough to lift the most burdened down heart. That right there is enough in and of itself. But one of the greatest things that I see in the text from this covenant is it says that he will be my God. Y'all don't mind if I get a little selfish. But he says he will be my God. I hope he's yours.
Yes, sir. That's right.
But I'm glad that he's all mine. He's my God. You know, forget about him being mama's God. or the pastor's God or somebody else's God. I'm glad that he is my God. And I know what some of you may be asking, you know, well, how is he more your God than anyone else's God? What makes he's the God of all creation. He's the God of all things, and he's the ruler of all things, both heaven and earth, and then the entire universe. But what you need to know is that I'm different. I'm a little bit different. See, he loves all his creation, but he beloved me. I'm a little bit different. See, the sinner, the unregenerate, who doesn't know my God. See, he just refers to him, that's God. He just says God. But anytime I refer to him, I say, my God. Anytime I cry out to him, I say, my Father, which art in heaven. Anytime I call on to him, I say, my God, come see about me.
Yes, sir.
My Lord, I stretch my hand to thee.
Yes, sir.
It's got to be known. It's got to be personal. It's got to be personal. I know, but what do you mean then, brother preacher? I'm saying he called me with something different than what he called you with. Evidently. Because when he called my name, there wasn't no question. I came running. What must I do to be saved? Because I was called with a holy calling, according to his purpose and grace. He chose me before the foundation of the world that I should be holy and without blame before him in love. Thank God for that holy calling. I'm glad what the Lord has done in my heart, because if it had not been for the Lord, I just don't know where I would be. But I'm glad that he predestined me before the foundation of the world unto the adoption of children, according to the good pleasure of his own will. My God called me unto himself, to the praise of his own glory and grace, where he had made me accepted in the beloved. I'm glad today that he doesn't just love me, but he beloved me. I'm glad today that before the foundation of the world, he chose me that I should be a part of a covenant that he made with himself. He didn't choose me because I was cute. He didn't choose me because I was kind. He didn't choose me because of who my daddy was. He didn't choose me because I did everything right. He didn't choose me because I'm black, white, purple, or green. But he chose me for his own purpose. And God, but I'm glad today that not only did he call me unto himself and give me that covenant to where I can cry out, Abba, Father. See, you got to know that this relationship with God must be personal. It must be intimate. It must be real. You know, you don't call nobody Father unless you know them on an intimate level.
Yes, sir.
You don't call nobody
Yes,
Father
sir.
unless you've seen them walking around exposing some stuff. You don't call nobody Father unless you made yourself vulnerable to them. I need to know if there's anybody in here. And when you get in trouble, when you down in the dumps, when you don't know which way to turn,
That's all right. Yes, sir. All right now.
What name do you call? I don't know about y'all, but I remember when I was in college, anytime I got in some trouble,
I called on him. Yes, sir. I called him 100 times.
my mama
Help
was
me.
always there. But if I got in trouble,
Yes, sir.
I called my daddy. I don't know about y'all, but anytime
Yes, sir.
this world gets to weighing on me real heavy, I cry out, my God.
Yes, sir.
I cry out, my Father. Come and see about me.
Yes,
Come
sir.
and see about your child.
That's all right.
You're the one that told me that you will never leave me nor forsake me.
Yes, sir.
You're the one that told me that you will provide my everything. You're the one that told me that when my head is
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all right.
you're the one that told me that.
Yes,
You're
sir.
the one that told me you put a hedge all around me.
And he did just that.
I don't know about y'all, but I cry out for my
Yes,
Father.
sir.
It's personal
Yes, sir.
It's personal to me. That's why I can praise him when I'm up.
And when I'm
Praise him when I'm down.
Yes, sir.
I can praise him whether I'm in church.
Oh, yes,
Or
sir.
whether I'm out.
Turn up. Yes, sir. I turn up by myself.
I'll
Yeah.
praise you the Lord. I'll praise you the Lord. You better get to know him.
Yes, sir.
You better get to know him better than you think you know him now.
Yes, sir.
Because there's some stuff that God has blessed you with. There's some stuff that he has told you that's yours. There's some promises
Yes,
that
sir.
God has given
Yes,
you
sir.
that you ought to be taking advantage of.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to going over, but I need to have some joy.
Yes, sir. Turn up then.
So I'm going to walk
In my
as
newness.
if I'm already on the streets of gold.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to walk in my house as if it's already my mansion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm going to sit at the table that my God has prepared for me in the presence of my enemies.
Yes, sir. They all around.
And while they're looking in the window,
Yes, sir. Turn up then.
I'm going to eat everything that God has set before me. I'm going to eat till I'm full.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to drink the cup till it's gone.
Turn up.
And then when I get up, I'm going to
Shout.
say, word
Yes, sir.
is the Lamb of God.
Yes, sir.
Thank God, all right.
Yes, sir.
Glad today that God told you to be part of this covenant.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Thank you,
glad
God.
today that this rock I stand on
Yes, sir.
is
Solid.
a solid
Yes,
rock
sir.
of my salvation.
Yes, sir.
Push me out your way.
I'm still standing. I ain't even gonna move.
I may stumble every
Yes, sir.
time,
I ain't stumbling.
but my foundation is
It's
firm.
solid. Yes, sir.
Because I've been bought with a price.
Yes, sir.
I've been sealed with the blood. I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. No matter what you bring up to me, his blood is covered
Yes,
up.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank God, all
Yes,
right.
sir.
Praise God. Praise God that he made you part of this covenant.
Yes, sir.
If you're still on the old covenant, you're on the shaky ground.
Yeah, you might want to hop up.
Was written on stone, but the new covenant, he said, I'm going to write it in your heart. Ezekiel said, he said, I'm going to do a new thing. He said, I don't want for you to give me your heart. He said, but when I show up,
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a new heart.
Yes, sir.
And I'll give you a new mind. And I'll put my spirit in your body. So now you can walk according to my commandments. Ain't God good? Won't he do it?
Makes no difference what the problem